Welcome back to Good Morning Let's Basketball. Make sure to subscribe. We are on the road to 100 subscribers and like the video if you are enjoying it. Make sure to follow all our socials to check out our reels that we have been making. And these are my co-hosts, Kevin and Daniel. Kevin, can you kick us off with our first topic?
Yeah, for sure. So, in the past few seasons, we saw the birth of a new dynasty, that being the Golden State Warriors. So, I kind of rose a question between us three of which team in NBA history do we think had the best dynasty? So, the teams that we picked from were the Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs, Chicago Bulls, LA Lakers, and Boston Celtics. I'll tell you who it isn't, who doesn't have the best dynasty first. I'll make it a little easier, and that's the Boston Celtics. No hate, great franchise. They're tied for chips with 17. But can either of you guess how many of those 17 championships were won before 1970?
Probably 98%.
I think only seven. Wait, you said before or after?
How many championships did the Celtics win before 1970? Out of 17 championships, how many were won before 1970?
I
14 or
think
15.
12.
Both of you guys overshot, which is even funnier, but it's 10.
Okay.
They had like that eight-peat in the 1950s when they had like six teams in the league and only white people could play. So does that shit count? But when it comes to which team has the best dynasty, I'd probably say it has to be the Lakers. I feel like they've been like greater for like a longer period of time, and I feel like they've also had like the best like NBA franchises over the years. Like when you look at their all-time greats, bro, they have like Magic Johnson, Kareem, Wilt, Kobe, Shaq, Jerry West. The dude's literally the logo for the freaking NBA. And they have 17 championships. So they're neck and neck with the Celtics for titles. Hopefully one day they can meet in the finals to get that tiebreaker. As far as I kind of like how they included the Bulls in here, just because saying I'm a Bulls fan, but they really only won during one period of time, which was the 90s. Same with the Spurs and Warriors, kind of, but the Warriors still have a potential to win more rings. And then the Spurs were good for a really long time. But I'm interested to see what you guys have to say about which team had the best dynasty.
I think the best dynasty, just a little bit biased, is probably the Bulls. They went three-peat, repeat in the 90s. It was a tough era for them. They had MJ and Scotty. MJ literally changed the game and brought that competitiveness back into basketball and had the most viewers in the NBA at the time. And he was a world like icon. Wherever he went, everybody knew who he was. When they played in France, he knew who he was. They were just dominating in the NBA at that time. And if he didn't retire, I definitely think they would have got two more titles, maybe have it eight instead of six. But that's my opinion. What do you think, Daniel?
So I think this question kind of breaks down in a few ways. In terms of like who had the best dynasty, I think it's hard to say just because there's so much history between the Lakers and Boston. But I do like what both of you guys said. Boston definitely won more of their championships back when the NBA didn't have as much talent and as much competition as it does now. So to me, their championships, while still, means a lot, doesn't mean necessarily as much as maybe the Lakers, because to me, the Lakers have maybe stayed more consistent, had kind of the bigger names in basketball, I think, overall. And I mean, some of the championships that they won, I think, were probably really fun for fans to watch, especially with like the Showtime Lakers and then also with the 1-2 punch of Shaq and Kobe. I think for me, I'm going to also go Bulls as the best dynasty, though, just because I think what they did was really special. I mean, to three-peat, twice in a row and, afterwards have the best basketball player basically ever as your franchise player. I think it just kind of all of those different things combined made it a really special time to be basketball fans. And we talked about this before, how after like the 90s, like basketball, well, even during the 90s, but after the 90s, like basketball just skyrocketed again because it was just a really good time to be a fan. So I think there's a lot of reasons why that was probably the most fun dynasty to watch. I do think that there could be an argument made for the Warriors dynasty being the most competitive, or I guess if I was to phrase a question differently, it'd be like who had the hardest dynasty to create, if that makes sense. And I think that would be the Warriors, just because I mean they were winning championships during what I would consider probably the most talented and competitive we've ever seen the league. Every team wanted a spot, and every team was just playing really well during from like 2014. I mean, even no, honestly, even late 2000s all the way up to now. I mean, just teams are playing ridiculous now in terms of the skill gap and in terms of a lot of other things like that. So I don't know. I like the Bulls, I guess, in terms of which dynasty meant the most.
But what about KD joining the Warriors?
I mean, honestly, so what do you mean by that?
Well, you said it was competitive, but he joined the Warriors and made them win a couple more championships.
So I mean, he helped them win two more, and I think when you had at the time in the league, Kawhi Leonard, one of the best players at the time, he was basically 1 year away from being in his absolute prime and winning a championship, or no, 2 years, I guess. But then also you had just I don't know. I think this the skill level of other players was still there, and I think that even with Kevin Durant, like there was still a lot of competitive teams. I mean, if we went back to all of the rosters, I think we would be like, okay, yeah, they even though they had KD, they still had obviously a mountain to climb to win a championship. But what do you think? You think that KD made that competition level easier?
No, I mean, I definitely think it helped them out a lot. I mean, they were a great team with or without him, and they proved that they could win without him too in 2022. But I'm just saying, like, adding KD to that dynasty, it was just kind of like a cheat code, just because he's one of the best offensive players we've seen in the NBA. And
Hmm.
I don't know. That's just what my opinion is on it.
Before KD went there, though, like you said, they were winning before and after him. Shit, before KD went to the Warriors had 79 wins, 73 wins. So he ended up joining that team. Definitely did make it easier. But I feel like people often get confused and think that the road to the finals for the Warriors were like easy and that KD was just like got like a group project A. Like, no, he was definitely the best player on that Warriors team. He averaged 30 over 30 in the finals every year that they were in there. He won two finals MVPs. Like that wasn't just give it to him. Like the dude averaged over 30 in the finals, which is impressive in any era of basketball and will forever be. So I think you could definitely argue the Warriors probably having one of the stronger dynasties here with KD on their team. I think they could probably even consider the best because look at all the offensive skill that they had, like Steph Curry, KD, Clay, and Draymond Green as well. Like that team was quite literally insane. Like I don't know if any of like the older Lakers dynasty teams or older Celtics dynasty teams, they definitely wouldn't be able to beat that Warriors team. Maybe not even that. Maybe not even the '90s Bulls could beat that Warriors team in a
I,
playoffs.
I
Who
I
knows?
just
Hey, we can sit here and say what if all day, but like just look at the amount of talent and how good these players were. Like it's really hard to root against them.
I just thought about something while you were saying that because you brought up a good point. The Warriors were winning before KD got there, and they're going to continue to win after he's gone. But it speaks a lot to how well of a well-oiled machine Golden State is in the way that they play such well-organized ball together that implementing somebody into their system usually would kind of tear everything up or just not work out well. And I've talked in length about how when you put a big three together, personalities intermix and people get annoyed of each other. And, one guy wants the spotlight while the other doesn't. Little stupid things here and there. But when it came to Kevin Durant joining the Warriors, obviously, eventually his conflict with Draymond became an issue. But, for when he first went there, I mean, their ability to play well together and still win a championship, I think says a lot. That's not easy. There's, if we want to, say that, or if we want to compare, Kevin Durant went to the Suns, and that team should have been, a ridiculous team to put together. James Harden, Kevin Durant, and who was the other one? Kyrie Irving on the Nets, another big team, and obviously they have their stipulations and stuff, but it's what I'm basically saying is it's not easy to win a championship, even when you do have one of the best small forwards in history. And even so, they still were able to do it. So I don't know. I think that is a very good
What's
dynasty.
what was being held against them too. Like that team with KD, they had everything to lose. If they lost a regular season game, like they were getting their asses chewed out on social media.
Yeah.
Because people think, how could this team lose? Like that was like this team was banned in 2K for like 2 or 3 years. No one could use it. But like they had a lot to play for it. Like if they even when they lost the finals with KD and Clay out, they still got shit on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, you still have to go out there and win, and a ring still counts for that Toronto Raptors team. That does. It still matters, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Still have to go out there and win.
Yeah, and I mean he had become part of their team, you know. So it's not like the Warriors couldn't win without KD. It's more or less there was a missing piece to the puzzle. It would have been as if the Raptors had lost Kawhi Leonard in that game. I mean, bad example because Kawhi Leonard was definitely the MVP of that team, but I think you guys get what I mean in terms of the kind of level of impact that KD had on that team.
Did you say he was like the missing piece?
I wouldn't say that he was the missing piece.
No,
I said, what did I just
say?
Like
missing, no, what do you mean by missing piece? So is what I meant.
Well, I just mean like, it's clear to me that the Golden State Warriors pride themselves on like player development, making sure everyone is like I said, well-oiled machine, everyone's working cohesively. And when you have any facet, or when you have any player on your team that's not working in unison, or there's some slight issue, you see problems all around. You could argue that this season we saw with Jordan Poole fumbling around with the ball, and that was just one piece of their puzzle that wasn't exactly in its right spot, and because of it, they lost out on some really important games. But I think that when it came to KD on that team, he was a huge puzzle piece. Curry was one, Clay was another, but KD was one of the most important ones. They had definitely built that offense around him and Curry, as opposed to what the offense is now and what it was before KD was there, which was just the offense pretty much all ran through Curry.
No, for sure. I mean, he definitely added a lot to that Warriors team. I mean, like Kevin said, if they would have lost, it would have been so embarrassing, and the Warriors would have never heard the end of it. I think a lot of people had been rooting against the Warriors that season, and they wanted to see that team lose, and they didn't.
Yeah, sure. Guilty. I wanted to see the Warriors lose bad. Even though KD is one of my favorite players, and I still didn't hate him that much when he went to the Warriors, I didn't really want to see him win. Like I thought it would have been cool to see like a team like take him down. And who else better than the fucking Dynasty Slayer himself, Kawhi Leonard, demon, best player I've ever seen with my own eyes. 2019 Kawhi, bro. I can't believe it. We'll watch his highlights after we're done recording today.
I think the best player I've seen was Damian Lillard during the playoffs. I think it was 2022 playoffs. I think it was either that one or a year before that. That dude went insane in the fourth quarter. I mean, that was the best basketball I've ever watched.
It was 2021 Damian Lillard, because I know exactly what game you're talking about. They were playing Denver. It was like game 4 or 5 in Denver. Yeah. He had 55 points, and in the fourth quarter, the dude couldn't miss even if he tried, bro.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Watching at your house, I literally remember where I was watching the game. We were with you, and the shots he was making, it was just fucking ridiculous. I remember that game. That game was that was probably the best shooting display I've ever seen in my life.
I feel the same way.
That was nuts.
Not even his 71.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, me neither. I'm sure it was just a bunch of 20 points first quarter, 20 points second quarter, 20 points third quarter.
But he was saying in a podcast that he felt like he couldn't miss that game, and I don't think he missed.
He scored 71.
Yeah.
One thing he wasn't doing was fucking missing. Yeah. Didn't they lose that game too? No, they won. Barely.
I think they lost actually. Or no, maybe that was Jimmy Butler's 60-something game.
No, that was Devin Booker's.
Devin Booker lost, but I think the Blazers might have lost too. Or it was really close.
Because whoever it was, I remember after he said it didn't mean anything because they lost. And it might have been D-Book, but it might have been Damian Lillard too.
People
'Cause
did
that's
lose
like,
the 70-point game. They lost in Boston. I remember that. But the Dame Lillard 70 points, I can't remember if they won or lost or not.
They played the Bulls. I don't think he or was that Donovan Mitchell that played the Bulls when he got
That was
7?
Donovan Mitchell when he dropped 70 on the Bulls. I watched that game, the whole fucking game.
Hey, they beat the Rockets 131 to 114 when Dame got 71.
Okay. Damn. That's absurd.
what about when I dropped 40 on you, Victor, with LeBron on the Lakers on 2K?
That never happened.
I have the screenshots.
Don't make me pull up our record.
Our 2K record's probably getting closer and closer day by day. Because you haven't won in a while, buddy.
It's like 56 and 30 something.
It used to be like 10. I'm on a hot streak.
Well, I can't play this 2K. This new 2K is hard. For anybody that plays this new 2K,
Skill issue.
Skill issue. If you don't green it, you miss, bro. It's tough.
The game's so fucking hard. When you make a shot, they get montage, bro. Like, next gen gaming is shit. Like, I was playing, like, a couple weeks ago, I was playing 2K22, like, on my 360. I've had the same 360 since I was, like, 11, 12 years old. The gameplay was fine. But then I play on Daniel's Xbox, the next gen. Everything's in slow motion. It's like they're playing under fucking water. The game's so hard. And that's every game, too. FIFA, Madden. Madden's fucking insanely hard now.
Yeah, Madden. I don't like Madden.
Madden's the same, bro.
I think I beat you, though, right, Vic, recently in Madden?
Well, all the sports in the game are the same. We're sitting here acting like 2K sick every year. And FIFA, it's the same shit every year. It's been.
Did you see what Kai Cenat said? And you know how like 2K always has that launch party or something in the summer?
Yeah.
They invite a bunch of creators.
Yeah.
So Kai went to the thing and they interviewed him. They were like, "What do you think of this new 2K?" And he's like, "Honestly, it's the same shit." And people were pissed.
How can they be bad? Like, we all know that. It's literally the same thing every year.
It's just like when they drop the ratings, they're like sweatier.
Oh, you mean the player pictures?
Yeah, like the pictures, and they'll have like the player ratings, like overalls.
Yeah.
They're just dripping. It's ridiculous.
Look, we added an extra droplet of sweat to LeBron's forehead. Pay an extra, dude. Every new generation game, I'm pretty sure is like $15 more than it was on Xbox. Like Xbox games used to be $59, now they're $75.
Dead ass.
Redonkulous.
Games are $75.
Yeah, they're taxing. It's more than a controller.
Bro.
What have we come to? What happened to the fucking days where you could go to an arcade? You could play Pac-Man.
You didn't know those days.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You were swimming in your daddy's nuts.
Yeah?
So we're going to be adding a new segment during our podcast weekly, so make sure to look for that each week. It's called He's Him. Here it is.
Welcome to the first installment of Nah, He's Him, starring him, aka OG Mike Miles, the starting MVP caliber shooting guard for the Boston Celtics in 2K19 my career. Today we got a fun one. We're playing the bum-ass Charlotte Hornets. They were shit in the 90s, they're shit in 2019, and they're probably still going to be shit in 2029. LaMelo's a hooper though. There's the man of the hour, OG Mike Miles, and there's Cody Zeller's bum-ass. IU grad though, so respect, I guess. All right, we got a fun one today. Hayward's bum ass passing me the dunk for 2 right off the bat early. We got Kyrie bringing it up. I'll do the rest from here. Good pass, Kyrie. All right, for some reason, Jeremy Lamb decided to be injured this game. Bro probably rolled his shit trying to guard a prime Kemba Walker in practice. You can't tell me it's ethical for a GM to make a player do that. Cody Zeller, fadeaway. There is no way that's going in. Tatum steals my rebound. Out to Hayward, bum ass one more time for a little pull-up midi. Is that going in? Fuck no, that ain't going in. Good rebound, Horford. I'm taking it to the hole. Little drip action on the floater. Looking pretty nice, pretty nice. Dish to Tatum. We're getting it going early. 16-4-3 in the second quarter. Trying to make this one an easy win, up by 13. Driving right past Lamb's bum ass. Oh my! Balls in the face right there. Sorry, Kaminsky. Next play, we're out on the wing, calling for the screen from Horford. You know, we're trying to make something happen here. Back out to Hayward. He's going to shoot it. You knew that shit wasn't going in. Good rebound, Horford. He's always there. Tatum's bringing that shit up. Back to me. Back to Horford on the dish. You know, that's a nice pass. He's always finishing my passes and shit. We got a B+ teammate grade, 22. I didn't even see the rest of the stats because I'm a shitty editor. Into Hayward. Oh my god.
What kind of shot is that? Have you ever shot that shot?
Tony Parker, we got him cooking out here. He's like 39 years old in this game. I don't even know how the fuck he's in. Anyway, our teammates playing like shit. Morris getting swatted here. Kyrie, back to me. Back to Kyrie. Ooh, a little behind the back action. He's getting fouled. Hayward. Fucking clown. Alright, I don't know what's happening here. I'm trying to pick the fucking ball up. Out to Hayward?
Skip it up and down.
Yeah, so great game here. You know, we got the shit done. I think we won by like 20 points. Honestly, I haven't been this far in the edit yet, so I have no idea what's really coming. 27, 10, and 16. Damn, 12 of 22. Here's a little bit of the box score. You know I'm leading the team. MVP caliber. Oh, Tatum was injured. Didn't know that till after the game. Unknown left ankle injury. Same as Jeremy Lamb. Younger Miles Bridges. We'll leave it at that. Anyway, Jeremy Lamb, 13 and 4, bro. Wasn't even competing out there. So, thank you for tuning in. This has been He's Him.
So looking at the 2019 NBA draft, there's a lot to say and there's not a lot to say about this class. Looking at the top 5 picks, first pick, Zion Williamson. Doesn't really play basketball much. I remember seeing a stat. It was like on ESPN. I was watching. I think it was during the draft. In every single NBA player, or throughout NBA history, there's like a list of players who have played like the least amount of games throughout their first 3 or 4 seasons. Zion is like in the top 3. He hasn't played like, I think he's played like a season and a half worth of games in a total of 4 seasons.
He's played 114.
Right. Like it's like he hasn't played much in like his time. Looking at the second pick, Ja Morant. No disclosure, like we know. Third pick, RJ Barrett. This dude has all the tools to like be great. He has a big frame. He's 6'9". He can do damn near anything on offense. He can score, he can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot. Defense, he's not bad. I would say he's overall solid. But the problem is he sucks. He's not very consistent at all. Like that's the only thing he needs, bro. If this dude can stay consistent, he could easily be the best player in this draft. He's as good. He has as high as a ceiling as like Zion and Ja, I think. RJ's pretty talented. He's just horribly inconsistent.
We should disclose that RJ Barrett is a former Duke player.
So Zion and what I say about him.
Blue Devil over here, Kevin.
Anyway, okay. The fourth player taken in this draft. Daniel, you know who this is? DeAndre Hunter. You know what the fuck that is.
For good reason. Dude probably sucks. That's why we're not talking about him.
And this is where like this debate kind of starts. 5th pick, Cleveland picked Darius Garland. Darius Garland damn near might have been the best pick in this draft. The past 2 seasons, he's been playing exceptionally well. He's definitely one of the top point guards in the Eastern Conference, like Trae Young. I would consider Harden, but he's not probably going to be in the East anymore, as well as Tyrese Halliburton. Last season, I mean, Garland can pretty much do everything that you would want a point guard to do. He's a great passer, very solid defender. He gets in the passing lanes, and he can shoot and score off the dribble, on and off the dribble. So that does raise the question, is it too early to say that Darius Garland was the best pick of the 2019 NBA draft?
So I can take this first. I would say, yeah, it's way too early to name him the best, just because realistically, the only reason why we're not, completely saying this is false and saying that Ja Morant is the best pick out of that draft is because of, his issues outside of basketball, or at least for me, that's why. Because, overall, I think when you consider who's more valuable to their team, Ja to the Grizzlies or oh my God, I can't speak. or Darius to the Cavaliers, I think it's pretty clear that Ja Morant is probably the more important or impactful player. In terms of Zion, we all knew that his size was going to be an issue from the get-go. Everyone expected that he had too much mass on him and that his freak athleticism would only take him so far in the league. You need longevity. You need to be able to be conditioned, and we just didn't see that out of Zion early on. But it is still early. You know, he's still got a few years ahead of him, so it is very possible. And like you said, RJ Barrett, I agree with you. He definitely was one of the more complete players that came out of that draft, and he has a really high ceiling ahead of him. But yeah, it's too early to say anything like that. I think overall, probably he's either second or third right now in the bests. I think it's Ja Morant, probably Zion still, and then obviously Darius Garland. But you know, between the three, I don't know if I like his chances. But what do you think, Vic? What do you think, Kev?
Like Kevin said, he's been improving a lot every season. I think last season he was averaging around like 21 points and 7.4 assists, and he's really good playmaking wise, and he can create shots and for himself, and he's very quick too, and kind of good defensively as well with averaging like 1 steal. But like I would say he's probably the best pick right now if you were to just look at games played and what he's averaging. But I think the best out of these five, just like skill wise, is either Ja Morant or Zion. Like if they played healthy and like cut the distractions out, I think you'd have to give it to Ja or Zion.
But stats wise, you think he beats Ja?
Oh, no, I don't think stats wise. I was saying if you were to combine the games played with the stats and just overall.
Okay.
Darius Garland also plays with like guys like Mobley and guys that can score, and Donovan Mitchell as well. He's the number one scoring option on that team, and the fact that he was still able to average 20 points, I think if he was on a team with number one, I feel like his stats could be very much comparable to Ja Morant. But looking at Zion though, like he hasn't played very many games, but his career averages so far for his first 3 seasons are 26 points and 7 rebounds.
That's
2020
ridiculous.
the 2020 and 2021 season, he played 61 games, which is the most he's played in his career, which is a very solid amount of games to play in an NBA season. So he missed 21 games. Still kind of in like the, it's kind of a lot, but 60 games is a lot. Like it's a long season, especially for his big ass.
For sure.
That season, he was an all-star. His second year in the league, he averaged 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 3.7 assists. When Zion's on the floor, he's better than all of these guys. Offensively, defensively, he can do more than all of these guys. Maybe not all around. Offensively, he can pretty much get a bucket as he wants, and no one's going to stop him. Defensively, he's great. He gets a lot of blocks. He gets in the passing lanes, and he's a phenomenal rebounder. So, to keep things short and sweet, if Zion played as many games as Garland and Ja, then I feel like this definitely wouldn't even be a conversation.
No. I test Zion's all there.
No, for sure. But unfortunately, like I said, he hasn't played a lot. So it really hard to say. It's hard to say he's been the best. And as far as speaking with Ja, it's kind of hard to say because I believe it was, I can't remember if it was this past season or the season before that. I think it was the season before that when the Grizzlies were like second in the Western Conference. Ja missed like, I believe he missed 22 or 21 games, and the Grizzlies went 18-3 without him. Ja's great, but as far as like an impact that he makes on the team, they were able to win games without him. Even with like they don't have like that big of names like on their team behind Ja Morant. Jaren Jackson, who's Defensive Player of the Year, sure, he's great, but he's not going to carry offensively. The Grizzlies are overall like all around great team, and I think they're going to be even better with Ja not being there now that they have Marcus Smart too.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Honestly, you're totally right. I mean, I kind of forgot, but the Grizzlies are a really, again, I'm going to say it, well-organized team. And I do kind of remember during that season, towards the end when Ja wasn't there, they were still able to pull out and win some games. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of who's making the biggest impact on their team and who's the most valuable, there's definitely an argument to be made that Zion could be there.
So
Because if you
oh, you go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say real quick, if we wanted to say, all right, you pull out each of these guys from their team, who loses the most? I think there's definitely a question to, or you can definitely say the Pelicans, and that's a safe bet.
So I wanted to say, because I was thinking this after we did the episode about Wembanyama getting drafted and how he's probably the most hyped and anticipated draft pick coming into the league. I was thinking in my head, I remember like before him, it was Zion. And do you guys think that maybe Zion was a more anticipated or hyped rookie coming into the league than Wemby was overall? Because I remember people were like, his highlights were everywhere. You couldn't go on Instagram and not see a Zion highlight. And then also people were comparing him to be like the next generational talent, like LeBron. He was just all over the place. So am I crazy for thinking that he might have been a like more hyped talent than Wemby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're already talking about they're already putting Wemby in discussions of him like wanting to start a franchise with them. I saw like a list the other day from like SportsCenter, ESPN. They said top 5 players under 25 to start your franchise with. One of the top ranked people was Victor Wembanyama. Hasn't played a game yet, bro. Zion had a lot of hype coming into the league. It was insane. The most hype I've ever seen a draft prospect get, next to Ben Simmons. Wemby blew it out the water, bro. The way people talk about this kid is insane. And like, how can you not, bro? Like, look at him. Yeah. They're not even talking about this dude being the next LeBron. They're straight up talking about this dude can be the GOAT. Like, they're not talking about if he's going to win Rookie of the Year. They're talking about when he's going to win MVP, when he's going to win a ring.
Yeah.
Those are 2 if questions. That's not a when question.
The ceiling for him is low.
They said, forget about this kid winning Rookie of the Year. When's he going to get MVP? When's he going to get a ring, bro? Like, it's been nothing like we've ever seen before. The only reason why I feel like we saw more Zion highlights than Wembanyama highlights is because Zion played at Duke, which is like one of the best basketball schools that you can play at. I mean, they're always going to be on TV. Like, they're very popular school, love them or hate them. And then Wemby played overseas. His games weren't as accessible. But still, he still was so much more of a hype. Imagine if Wembanyama was in college this past year, not overseas. It'd be fucking rats.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Zion, I think the reason why you think maybe he was the bigger
I wasn't
prospect.
I was just saying, like, just like what if you guys thought that as like maybe it could have been a possible thing.
So, I don't know. What I was saying was you threw me off. I was in the middle of what I was saying, and you fucking. No, it's not what I said. It is what you said.
No.
Listen.
Exactly how I said it.
Okay.
I don't know. Am I crazy?
Yeah, am I crazy? No, look, I think the reason why maybe you think, Zion was a very big prospect compared to Wemby is because, he was definitely around during that time in Vine and Instagram and stuff where people were making highlights of everything, and they're making like, different edits of every single football catch in the NFL, every single dunk in the NBA. It was just nuts. So what?
You said Vine. When do you think Zion got drafted?
When do I think Zion got drafted? I think it's it's 2019. We're talking about it right now. But you get what I mean.
No, I don't get what you mean. If you were on Vine when Zion got drafted, you're
all right. Yeah, that was like probably 2016. But I'm saying like all of these like edits and these clips that people were making of these athletes, they were on the rise. You were seeing a crap ton of them. And so I think that, that was just the time when, social media was at its peak in a way, and we probably just saw more of it. But a little, comparative like story for you of Wemby versus Zion. Not a few days ago, this was actually like more than a few months ago, my dad was like, hey, you know anything about this basketball player? He's like French, he's really tall. And I'm like, yeah, Wemby. And we started talking about it, but my parents would never know who the hell Zion Williamson is, but they knew who Wemby was because he was on Good Morning America, you know, and the reason why he's getting so much attention is because, like Kevin said, these interviewers know, and these, you know, these news stations and stuff know that this kid's going to be something generational, and he's probably going to lead a team to a franchise championship or something. Huh?
Wemby was on the fucking newspaper that gets to your house every Sunday morning. Your dad just so happened to see it.
He's on this week's, yeah.
On the fucking New York Times. Said Good Morning America. You watch that shit?
No, my parents do though.
I don't know. Does
But
your dad
yeah.
know who Ben Simmons is?
Ben Simmons? I hope not.
Well, let's talk about bro for a little bit.
No.
People have said, I don't know if he said it or other people have said it. I think it was Mikal Bridges who said that Ben Simmons is at the healthiest point that he's been at since his prime years with the Sixers. He's had issues with his back past couple seasons, but I feel like the main reason why he hasn't been playing like Ben was confidence 100%. I mean, watching his first couple games with the Brooklyn Nets, he didn't play horrible. I feel like people kind of overreacted a little bit. He only shot the ball 3 fucking times a game, maybe. But by halftime, this dude would have like 6 assists and 7 rebounds. He was doing his thing, but he wasn't scoring like he was. I mean, he was never like a great, amazing scorer, but like he would put up like 15, maybe 20 points a game. But I feel like the biggest thing with Ben Simmons was because of just the whole confidence thing. Now, him not being 100% definitely helped. But this dude would be next to the rim during games and not shoot. And I'm not just talking about that one incident during the playoffs when he had Trae Young guarding him and he could have dunked. I'm talking about in his time with Brooklyn. Like, this dude just straight up did not want to shoot the ball because of him getting shit on, basically. But other than that, he was still doing his thing. I'm a big fan of Ben Simmons. I think he's great. I really hope he bounces back. I hope he earns it.
No, I agree. I think I would love to see him dominate the league just to shut everybody up because I think he's a great talent. Like you said, when he was on the Sixers during his prime, he was a great player. He was great at LSU and stuff.
All-star.
And we just got to see him fully healthy as a season. Like you said, his confidence wasn't there. He just got shit on year after year after that, missing or like not even taking that attempt over Trae Young. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with Brooklyn this season. It seems like that young squad with Mikal Bridges, Cam Thomas, they're all excited to see Ben Simmons come back, and they're all like cheering him on. And it seems like if he has a bad game, they're not going to shit on him. They're going to be like, "Oh, you struggled? That's all right, man. Next game you'll get them." And they're saying that they're going to dinners with him and shit, and he's texting the group chat a lot. So it seems like he's ready for the season.
It definitely seems like he bought back in. I was kind of scared if he may have lost his love for the game, but like I said, that confidence can just ruin everything. But then I think the Nets have a decent squad, bro. Like, they have a lot of young talent and players that know how to play like straight up winning basketball, led by Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. Ben Simmons was a part of pretty solid basketball teams in Philly. Cam Thomas, I think, can really emerge this season with the spacing going on with having Mikal Bridges there and Cam Johnson there, as well as Nick Claxton. So I'm excited. This is one team that I'm really excited to watch this series. A very young Brooklyn Nets team with a healthy Ben Simmons. I think they could be a really fun team to watch.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't think much has changed. I mean, you know, Ben Simmons has been in the league for a little bit now, and to me, I think he's just got too many factors that are going against him to the point where this guy's never going to be the player that we expect him to be, and things are never going to turn out the way that we want things to turn out for him. Maybe that's me being a pessimist and me being negative about his situation, but I just think that we like, you know, I've said this like 4 times on this podcast, but we've talked about before how no matter what, Ben Simmons is going to get shit on. If he plays well, but he's still not shooting the three well, he's going to get shit on for that. You know, if he makes 2 threes in a game, but he only scored 9 points, he's going to get shit on for that. It doesn't matter what this guy does. Like, he is just in a really bad position from the get-go. The comparative narrative that people had towards him and trying to say that Ben Simmons was going to be the next it guy ruined him as a player. And I think that you know, it's great that the Nets and that his teammates are saying, "Oh, he's healthier than ever," and all this other stuff. But the Lakers say the same thing about, AD when he comes in, plays 30 games, and then falls apart in the middle of the court. So it's good. I hope that he plays well this year, and I hope that he can, be a good addition to that Nets team. But overall, I think that they're still in murky water with him as a player.
I feel like people were just very confused on what to expect from Ben Simmons when he got drafted. They were getting mad that Ben Simmons wasn't a dominant using Philly. He never was a dominant scorer in any of his years that he ever played basketball. Even when he was in high school, I don't even think he averaged 20 points. He also went to Montverde where he played with like 4 other NBA players, but still, he was the top guy. He was still ranked number 1 in the country. He's always been a playmaker, a defender, and like various other things he can do on the court. He's a very good defender. Like I say, he can make plays, and he's very good on the fast break. People just really wanted him to be like a dominant scorer, but that's just not his game. So I feel like people really just expected way more, like superior, like way more out of Ben Simmons than what he was actually able to deliver you. He's a great player. He's definitely worthy of being a number 1 pick. But he's not going to go out there and give you 30. That's not his game. And if Ben Simmons does give you 30, then you probably lost the game because he wasn't creating shots for his teammates, which is what he's best at.
And he came from Australia where it's more of a team basketball and playmaking's first instead of trying to score.
I will say though, like, as a player, I feel like usually when a guy is not this good, and we've seen him, fumble with being good for the last few years, we just forget about them. But for some reason, Ben Simmons' name is just like unforgettable in the sports world, I guess. Because like I said, usually when players turn out to be duds, you just forget about them. When a top draft pick just kind of fails to live up to expectations, you just stop talking about him. But somehow Ben Simmons finds his way in the mouths of every single basketball fan in the country.
I feel it's because it's like he gets a lot of hate. He has to be probably top 5 most hated players in the league.
I think he
Who is
definitely, especially by his old fan base too, Philly.
Yeah.
Dude gets an insane amount of hate, very unnecessary. That's why I want to see him succeed so bad. I think you said that pretty good.
Philly sucks.
Yeah, shit.
What a shit sports city.
We're about to not get any Philly fans now.
I've only heard bad things about Philadelphia fans. Like, it doesn't matter if it's baseball, hockey, football, basketball, just the worst things coming out of that city, apparently.
They're
Except
just lazy,
steaks.
that's why.
Except steak sandwiches. A little Philly steak. A little Philly special. Over the pot.
We'll go to the last topic before he starts talking too much. And we finish recording fucking next week. What was the last topic? Oh yeah, Tyronn Lue. Speaking of Philly, James Harden still hasn't found a home. The Clippers are pretty unserious about trading for James Harden. I think they're kind of past it now. But Tyronn Lue was on a podcast the other day, and he told, and I love that he did this. This is awesome. He told Paul George and Kawhi Leonard personally to their face, he said that you guys need to be more serious about the regular season, and you need to take this upcoming regular season more serious. I love that because I literally forget sometimes that Kawhi and Paul George are a duo in the NBA because of how little they've played together. I know it'll work between them, like them two playing together can definitely work, but we don't even really know that for sure because they're never on the court together. I think they can definitely get it done. Kawhi can play with other All-Stars. Paul George has played with other All-Stars and had MVP caliber seasons like he did when he was in Oklahoma City. But I think they definitely need to be a little bit more serious about it. I don't know like what the locker room is like for the LA Clippers, but we know a lot of the Kawhi's tendencies. I mean, with the whole load management, same thing with PG, and they also have a lot of health issues. So in this statement, I feel like he was speaking more on like keeping your body right so these injuries do not happen. Doing your stretches, jogging your miles, whatnot, but also just wanting to compete in the regular season and not just wanting to show up for playoffs because you still have to get to the playoffs. And the West is pretty stacked. I mean, it's only getting better, it seems like. They have KD over there now. The Denver Nuggets just won the finals. Marcus Smart just got added to the Grizzlies. The Warriors are still there. The Lakers are strong. You have to be able to compete with those guys. And these two guys have to be on the court if they want to compete with these other teams.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Me and Victor have the worst timing. You want to go first, Victor? Go ahead.
No, for sure. They got to stay healthy if they want to compete for a title. And like you said, we haven't seen them play together that much. It's honestly a duo that you often forget about. And if they stay healthy, I think that team could be really good. They have Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi, and then Zubats. And it's a pretty solid team. And I don't blame the Clippers not wanting to trade for James Harden, like not making that a priority. I think they would lose too much and they'd lose like some of their young guys they got on their squad and some picks, and they don't want to do that for James Harden. And that's the right move as a franchise. If you don't see a future with what you're gonna, or like you don't see an end goal of getting a championship with acquiring a player, then don't trade for it, because the Clippers or the Philadelphia 76ers are probably going to ask for a lot in return for James Harden.
They have expressed they do want an all-star level player in return. And I feel like LA is definitely not ready to give up on either Paul George or Kawhi, especially what Tyronn Lue just said. It seems like they have no ambition because in order to acquire Harden, they'd have to give up either one of those guys. And him telling that to both of them kind of, to me, solidifies that James Harden will not be going to LA. Although LA does have a lot to offer them, it doesn't seem like it's in their best interest, and they know that, thank God, to not make this trade.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you guys said. I will say, though, I'm glad that Lou said this because it kind of confirms what I was saying, again, a few podcasts ago, which was that, to me, it seems like at the top level, the elite of the elite in the NBA do not take the regular season as seriously as they do the postseason. I think for a lot of guys, they want to win regular season games as much as they want to eat brunch, right? How much does everyone want to eat brunch? I mean, it sounds good in the morning. It's an extra meal. Why not? But you don't care. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal if you don't eat brunch. That's how I feel NBA players, when they're at the top level, look at winning regular season games. I think that for them, it's more important to stay healthy, to stay healthy, to stay out of injuries, and to just basically limit the risk of damaging your body before the main part of the season, which is towards the end. Now, I don't think that the Clippers have that luxury, and I don't think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have the luxury of doing that. I think I said that teams like the Warriors do that, and for them it works because they get into the postseason and then they can do their thing. But, this Clippers team has not proven themselves to anyone. So out of the gate, they do need to play well, and they do need to win some regular season games to make sure that they are in the best shape that they can be. Because once they get to the finals, or once they get to that playoffs in the Western Conference, the competitive level goes up a notch, and they need to be ready for that. So, yeah, I'm glad that he said that to them. All right, guys, that has been another episode of Good Morning Let's Basketball. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you guys next week for a new set of topics.